It's Tuesday, the 20th of February. Rise and shine, as Kayode would say. It's a brand new day, brand new opportunities for you to go and chase your dreams. Good morning and welcome to the Morning Brief. Yes, it's a very difficult time in the country, but it's also that time where we live for others. You know what they say? We rise by lifting others. Life is worth living when we live it for other people. So when you have a little extra, instead of spending it on all the other, unimportant things, you could just help somebody to smile. Welcome once again. I am Bukola Koka. And of course, I hope that my guys are doing just that at this time. Kayode, Jeffrey.
Yeah, we're keeping the smiles. And we're excited that the rains are here after all. But something crossed my mind because I said, it reminds me of the days of the NCA, those days. It's 9 p.m. Do you know where your children are?
Right.
Yeah. I'm Jeffrey, so welcome to the program.
Well, let's help you channel all of your energy, right? Pun intended here, right here on Channels Television. I'm Kayode Kikyo Lagos. Yeah, the rains, I'm not sure, are they here to stay or they're just passing by to come back eventually?
They're taking selfie.
I know, right? But I think it's cheery to have the rains, even though it might disrupt a lot of plans this morning. So make sure you have your umbrella. Make sure you get that warm cup of whatever works for you, either cocoa, tea, coffee, what have you. Just make sure you're in tune with the weather.
Indeed. Climate change is challenging everything that we knew about geography, about the weather, from our school days. But it's cheery to have the rains come in early, particularly because it has chased out the heat. So what do we have for you today? Quite a lot, on the plate, starting with that debate. And now, did you know that the House of Representatives has moved to regulate sports betting? Also, did you know that over 65 million Nigerians actively engage in betting, spending an average of $15 daily? Incredible is the apt description for this information from the National Lottery Commission, particularly amid the harsh economic conditions. You wonder, how come Nigerians are still able to spend that amount of money? So we'll be expanding that conversation as we speak with the man who moved the motion for the regulation of sports betting in the country. There's a lot more.
There's a lot more. It's not just about sport betting. This morning, we're also going to be looking at how things are playing out in the market. While we discuss more for this productive expenditure of the Naira, we're still keeping a close watch on the rising cost of commodities. It's like it's every other hour, every other day, even as concerns mount over the diminishing value of the Nigerian currency against the dollar, Naira on the free fall. Our colleague will be in to help us understand where this is coming from. Is it cost push or demand pull inflation or a hybrid of both? Whatever it is, we just want to get out. That's why we're bringing in to explain how this can all be yesterday by the end of a few days, if possible.
I love that, Jeffrey. But what is a morning brief without the soft side of things, right? What is a morning brief without taking some moment to appreciate some of the other interesting things in life? And I know that, reality TV shows may just be the road and claim to fame for many young Nigerians with whopping cash prizes and the accompanying perks. But there are some who had found fame before the show and then are riding on that. That is the case of this young man. You know him as Efe Money, rapper, singer, reality TV star as well. He joins us on the show this morning to walk us through his journey before, maybe during, and after the show.
Indeed, it's a rich lineup that we have for you, but what's it without your contribution to the program? That's the high point for us. More often than not, we love to read those creative comments that you post to us. So post to us, starting now, #CTV Morning Brief on X. What are your thoughts on the protest? What are your thoughts on the new figures of unemployment in the country? We're looking forward to reading them on the Morning Brief this morning.
Absolutely.
So that's exactly how things will play out today, the second day of the week. I almost made a mistake. But don't forget, we also have our WhatsApp number. We always say, do not call this number. Please do not call. I'm going to say that the third time, don't call. Just send your messages and your videos as soon as we can verify those videos. Of course, we'll help you amplify it. Our responsibility is to grow this community so that you feel safe here to share whatever it is you want to share. Because at the end of the day, we just want to have you be part of the show and help in growing our country. So that's that's exactly why we put out all of these numbers as well as our socials, so you can be part of the conversation. Bukola.
Yes, indeed. We begin unfolding what we have for you right after this time out, when we begin with the top stories on your perfect day starter. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Breaking news.
Again with the latest Russia's invasion of Ukraine.
Developing stories. And the conversations that matter.
We see an increase because of the economic pressure on them. The people are paying more for crossing borders irregularly.
Get a glimpse of the world around you on The World Today. Weekdays at this time. No matter where they are, if it concerns the people, we are there. From community game changers to homemade solution providers, where assurance and trust are built.
Policing should be people from the community who do the job. You don't bring an outsider.
We hear about Amotekun. We've not seen much of them around this area.
Documenting journeys of many starting big from a small place. Creating an intentional community where people go beyond living together to building strong and more friendly communities. Community Report, only on Channels Television.
Time now for the big stories on the morning brief. Starting off in Ibadan, in the last few weeks, many more Nigerians have begun letting out steam over the economic realities in the country. And this time, it's the turn of residents of the ancient city of Ibadan in Oyo State who took to the streets to protest the high cost of living occasioned by the rising cost of commodities. Carrying placards bearing inscriptions depicting their agitation and chanting slogans reflecting their frustrations, the protesters called on government to do something urgently to ameliorate the suffering of Nigerians who can now hardly feed.
People are hungry. People are dying daily of hunger. Insecurity is killing people. We just need them to help us. They should just help us. They should just look into our case and be of help to Nigerians. That's just all we need.
Section 34, 39 and 40 empowers every Nigerian to organize a peaceful assembly and to speak about the economic hardship. On this note, this is not today's own. We are starting. This is just the start. It is a continuous action. Expect protest from any angle. It must not be me. It can be you. It is everybody, because the problem does not only affect only me, neither it affects everyone.
We understand that people have rights for this kind of thing, but it is our duty as law enforcement to ensure that it is not hijacked by unscrupulous and mischievous elements who might want to make criminal proceeds from this kind of situation. As you can see from Mokola, which was the starting point of this movement, the police has covered, by foot and, even with vehicles, following them step by step. The command would like to let the good people of Oyo State know, particularly residents, that we have their interest at heart and we will do all that it takes to ensure that the relative peace and tranquility in Oyo State remains as it is.
And the continuing hardship in the land is causing analysts to rethink the economic policies of the current administration. And one of such is political activist and former lawmaker, Mr. Usman Bugaji, who is calling for transparency and accountability on the part of government if they are to solve the current economic hardship facing the country. And Mr. Bugaji was speaking on...
Do we know how much food we are producing at the moment? We should. Do we know how much petrol we are selling? We should. Did we know how much revenue we're expecting? What are our bills? How do we solve this? The figures should be able to be rolled out today. But you keep speaking in general terms with nothing specific, and things are worsening. Even the policy itself of removing subsidy, you should not announce this policy or start this policy without an arrangement. For example, where is the subsidy that we have recovered after removal? How much is it? Where do you want to apply it? From what we know, there are 4 areas that you can apply these subsidies that can ease life for the ordinary person. One is food. Second, transportation, health, and education. How much of these amount that has been recovered, from the subsidy, we don't even know the figure, and we don't know where it is. We see the National Assembly discussing with the security chiefs and passing a vote of confidence. Isn't that an insult to this country? After all that we know that is happening, every day people are being killed, more places are being deserted, more people are leaving their homes and languishing on the streets, and we are passing a vote of confidence to these people. What have they done? What are the metrics? How do you measure performance?
Mr. Bugaji was speaking on our political program, Politics Today. Nigeria faces mounting economic challenges as food prices surge to unprecedented levels, placing a heavy burden on households already grappling with economic uncertainty. Recent data from the National Bureau of Statistics show that in January, Nigeria's headline inflation rate hit 29.9%, with food inflation reaching 35.41%. And as inflationary pressures grip the nation, significant increases have been recorded in the prices of staple food items over the past 3 months and 1 year. Among the key findings, semovita, a popular staple in Nigerian households, has surged to 11,000 naira for a 10-kilogram bag, marking a substantial increase from 9,800 3 months ago and 6,800 just 1 year ago. Similarly, the price of yam has remained stubbornly high at 9,000 naira for just 3 tubers, unchanged from both 3 months ago.
Some of these are consequences of the ongoing reforms. And I must say that these reforms are, to a large extent, inevitable. But what I think is important is to review the reforms as we progress, so that if there are needs to fine-tune some of the methodologies in the light of the outcomes, I think we should do so. Because economics is not physical science. It's not an exact science. It's a social science. Sometimes what you expect in form of outcomes, you don't quite get. So I think there's a need to review some of the reforms, the methodology, not the entire thing, but to review some of it to be sure that we get the right kind of outcomes. And the situation now requires a lot of state intervention, because there's a limit to which the market can solve all problems. Because some of the things that are being revealed now, is an indication of the limitations of the market principles, market philosophies. So with the way things are, there's a need for targeted intervention. I'm not talking about distribution of palliatives and all of that. I'm talking about a system-wide intervention in specific sectors that relates to particularly these staple foods and to some extent energy and transportation and even the pharmaceutical products. So those interventions are very essential. We can look at intervention from the point of view of the fiscal policy, looking at things like the import duty concessions for critical sectors, and also having a very robust engagement with key stakeholders who are in the production in this entire chain. I think those things are very necessary to be able to stem the tide of this current crisis.
Mr. Muda Yusuf of the CPP speaking on the News at 10 on Channels Television. Now, besides the rising cost of commodities, Nigerians, particularly motorists and commuters, may have more to worry about in the coming days. This is because the meeting between the federal government and the leadership of the Nigerian Association of Road Transport Owners, NATO, as well as other stakeholders, over the suspension of operations by NATO members with respect to the lifting of petroleum products nationwide has ended in Abuja with no concrete agreement reached. Minister of State for Petroleum Oil, Mr. Heineken Lokobri, said the engagement will continue today as government would not fold its arms and allow Nigerians go through more hardship as currently being witnessed. And we hope that that engagement is productive such that the current queues in petroleum stations can begin to ease. Now, moving on, the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, has lamented what it describes as the payment of their members and amputated 2-month salaries by the federal government out of the 7.5 months withheld salaries. The association's Abuja Zonal Coordinator, Comrade Salahu Mohammed Lawal, stated this at a press conference on Monday in the federal capital. President Bola Tinubu had in October 2023 approved the release of 4 of the 8-month withheld salaries after the administration of former President Muhammadu Buhari invoked a no-work, no-pay policy against some university-based unions that embarked on a strike that lasted 8 months in 2022.
Recall that the Minister of Labour, Chris Ngige, via a memo to the Minister of Finance, stopped the payment of salaries of lecturers in federal universities from March 2022 till 13 days into October 2022. Instead of addressing the issues that led to the strike, he was busy finding a way to destroy the union. In the last 2 days, some members have reported receiving an amputated 2 months of the 7.5 withheld salary. This is far below expectation of the union and further weakens the morale of our members and the union's trust in government promises. We use this medium to call on all that are involved in this inglorious act to do the needful with regard to lecturers withheld salaries. It is high time to pay up what you are owing and stop being a bad debtor. The union is by this press conference calling on all well-meaning Nigerians to prevail on the federal government of Nigeria to live up to its expectations on the following. A. Conclude, sign, and immediately implement the Prophet-Nimic Briggs Committee renegotiated agreement. B. Immediate payment of all withheld salaries, release of promotion arrears, and end academic allowances. Nigerian academics are tired of platitudes laced with disdain for intellectuals. Only concrete steps to restore their eroded dignity and degraded lives can guarantee lasting peace on our campuses.
Still in the FCT, President Bola Tinubu has arrived Abuja from the African Union Summit in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. President Tinubu, who departed Addis Ababa in the morning on Monday, arrived in Abuja around 3:40 p.m. and was received at the airport by members of his cabinet and other officials of the ruling party. While in Ethiopia, the Nigerian leader joined other African leaders in high-level meetings on institutional reforms of the African Union, peace and security. And amid the continuing economic downturn, there's something to cheer as cement manufacturers in Nigeria have agreed to bring down the price of the product to between 7,000 naira and 8,000 naira per 50-kilogram bag, depending on the location nationwide. The agreement between the federal government and the manufacturers was reached at a meeting called by the Minister of Works, Senator Dave Umahi, on Monday in Abuja. The manufacturers also expressed their readiness to bring down the prices in the future as soon as the federal government's intervention is fulfilled. And outside our shores, a close aide to the dead Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny says his mother has been unable to recover his body after his death in an Arctic jail. Kira Yamish said Navalny's mother, Lyudmila, was told his body would only be handed over once a post-mortem examination had been completed. Navalny's team believes the anti-corruption campaigner was murdered on the orders of President Vladimir Putin. A rights group has said 400 Russians had been arrested for laying tributes. And on the sports scene, following the conclusion of the 34th edition of the CAF African Tournament in Côte d'Ivoire, attention has now shifted to the next edition of the Continental Soccer Fiesta, with the preliminary draw of the Africa Cup of Nations Morocco 2025 scheduled for Tuesday, February the 20th, 2024 in Cairo, Egypt. The preliminary round of the CAF Africa Cup of Nations Morocco 2025 will include the 8 lowest ranked teams according to the FIFA ranking: Somalia, Djibouti, Sao Tome, Chad, Mauritius, South Sudan, Liberia and Eswatini. The matches will be played on home and away basis during the FIFA window of March 18 to 26, 2024, while the draw will be conducted at 1400 hours local time. So many stories, so many things happening around the country, and of course for you to react to. And that's where we're taking off from now, as Jeffrey joins me to look at some of the trends on social media.
Nigerians are talking. As always, our responsibility is to ensure that their voices are heard. So we see what you're saying across board on different issues, and we will reel them out today on the program. But what caught my attention is, I don't know whether to call it an intervention of the government when it comes to the cement industry. From your story, we understand it's now going to range between 7,000 to 8,000. I don't know whether that's to call it a positive news, because if you know where it's coming from, it was gearing towards a 100% increase at the end of the day. Because I went to buy one day and 7,000, then it moves to, I was doing some small rehabilitation. From 7,000, it went to 7,300 in a space of about 2 or 48 hours or so. So it's something that is very disturbing. And one of the things we're looking at in that space is we may also be talking about the oligopoly in that space, that particular phenomenon in economics called oligopoly. We may have to expand that space for a lot more players to come in, so that naturally when you have a lot more players, supply increases, prices crash. It's simple economics. So maybe the government needs to empower more people. And you're right about the uncertainty about that intervention, because the manufacturers are saying that once the federal government intervention has been achieved, so what's that intervention and how long are we going to wait before the price comes down? Let's jump into what you're saying. This is, well, we call it discourse now, but you know, Nigerians were used to NEPA for a long time. So when you hear NEPA in Nigeria, it talks about power. It's been epileptic, as you know. They come in on off and they've been complaining about gas. So this person, let me read that particular name for this one is, it says Village Para says Presidential Villa owes 923 million to NEPA, because they reeled out some of the agencies of government that are owing them. So that's why it trended. Police owes 1.4 billion. Office of the CBN Governor owes 1.6 billion. Altogether, the federal government and its agencies owe NEPA the sum of 47 billion. Meanwhile, citizens are expected to be up to date on payment. So, presidency and everybody concerned, the police, CBN, the headquarters of money, they are calling you out. Let's go to the next one. Nigerians are calling for leadership by example this morning, and rightly so. Speaking of which, this one from Bernard is hilarious. Brother Bernard says, Ministry of Power is owing NEPA bill. ECOWAS is owing NEPA bill. World Bank is owing NEPA bill. Aso Rock is owing NEPA bill. Interesting. INEC is owing NEPA bill. This Shakpa don't catch everybody. Well, Jeffrey, you may have to help us out with that. Shakpa, what does it mean? No, I think it's a Western term. I don't know. You guys will be able to tell. Like Sakpa, like Jakpa is traveling. Sakpa is suffering. Hunger. Okay. So when Sakpa touch you, you will know how far. Okay. May Shakpa be far from us. Amen. This is so everybody. I'm even curious when you go to some power stations or some discourse offices and they're using generator. Is quite hilarious to see. This is Jagani, who says Ministry of Power and the Presidential Villa owing NEPA bill. Sorry, we call it NEPA bill, by the way. This is the funniest and saddest thing I've ever seen. The mismanagement of the affairs of this country is out of the world. Bukola, next.
This one is from Mr. Slim Jim, and he says, I thought all these ministries were supposed to have like an allocation for things like NEPA and the likes from their budget. Why Ministry of Power Good Day?
So I think what is going on now is that,
sure.
I think what is going on now, you know, they've been talking about recouping investment and all of that, and they are now saying, look, let's call out the people that are owing us so that you guys will not just blame us for everything. Let everybody collect. That's how we say it in Nigeria. So Mr. Elbonga says a country where its Ministry of Power owes close to 100 million in electricity debt can't guarantee electricity to the generality of Nigerians. This is in addition to other government MDAs that owe AEDC 47. AEDC, by the way, is discourse that distributes for Abuja area. 47 billion naira in electricity debt. Wow. Well,
this one is from Ms. Tosin, and she says, I believe, what metrics did they use to calculate the outstanding bill? How are some offices owing up to billions? Good question. Even if it's 8 years safe, even if it's 8 years, that's what she means. Are they saying some of these offices used over 300, this should be billion naira?
Well, we can't read your next line
of electricity every year. I smell a thieving rat in the Ministry of Power.
All right, this is from Olabumi. It says, Ministry of Power, they owe, this pigeon, by the way, owe NEPA bill care, Nigeria and Nollywood. Who they direct this film? Okay, so yeah, quite hilarious to see that. But this is not the first time. But this time the Ministry of Power had to come, or the discourse had to come out to say, okay, perhaps the reason why you're not getting light is because when people are indebted to us, so let them pay their money, including the presidency. So President Bola Tinubu, where you stay is in debt. They will turn off your lights soon. That's just a joke. But let's play at that.
Let's go to the next subject this morning. Ibadan protest is also part of the trend. And Infinite Blopper Reel says, protests won't solve anything. Good citizens should support the government rather than disrupt the peace. Just go through these baby steps of pain. Baby steps of pain.
Well, people have a right to protest as long as it's peaceful. Whether they want to protest every day for the rest of the year is within their right. What we fight against or what we speak against is let it not be violence, let it not result to anarchy. So people have a right to protest. We must say that as long as they are not disrupting the peace, it's absolutely within their constitutional right. All right, Zionist Machine says they need to be patriotic security. They need to be patriotic security agencies should stop them immediately before things get out of hand. Okay, did it go violent? I didn't get that memo.
We didn't get that
We didn't get that memo. I don't think anything was violent, so I don't know whether someone has information we don't have. Bukola, next one.
Adnan Abdullahi Adam says Tinubu must tread with caution. He must do what's right. The suffering is unbearable. No spokesperson or tons of lies and propaganda will convince the citizen that the economy is going in the right direction. Hashtag cost of living.
I think let's go to the Naira falls to 1,700. Almost amplified. To a dollar, who would believe that Naira will go as high? I don't even know what to say. $1 to 1.7. That is 1,700 units of the U.S. currency to our. No, one currency of 1 unit of the U.S. currency to our 1,700 units.
And you know,
and let's not even go to the pounds.
At the beginning of the administration was about 500 naira to the dollar.
Okay, that's the impact of floating the naira, by the way. Afolabi Awe says we are not expecting the change soon to be drastic appreciation of the naira. The change we want is stability. The current instability is really distorting all macroeconomic markets, holding speculation and what have you.
And Ugly Son, what a name, says, all credits to Bola Ahmed Tinubu, creative minds proposing real-life solutions. We must learn to be innovative to grow the Naira. We must not be importing air conditioners to ease the heat while putting pressure on Naira. May that succeed.
All right, Chugoeze says Naira to 1,700 Naira to $1. Please, where are we going? A big question. The federal government will have to answer that. I think we have a few more tweets.
Maybe we should go to the next theme, which is the EFCC. And NigerianNoise.com says, sorry to burst the bubble of Nigerians. This does nothing. Money changers exist all over the world. They are not responsible for Naira rates. This is chasing shadows. Tomorrow, the operators will be back in their seats. It's all showed.
So I think I understand that there was a bust at one of the areas in Abuja where BDC's operators do their thing. So the AFCC invaded the area because they are concerned about hoarding. Yes, that's a video. Yeah, so we saw this video, I think, yesterday, if you're on social media, where the EFCC rained in on the area where, the BDC operators are operating, and that caused a lot of uproar across board. So
I guess that's what Nigerian Noise is saying about
that's the reaction to all of it.
Systemic issues that need to be solved beyond this raid on the base of the BDC operators in Abuja.
There's a lot going on in our country, we hope. So those are the visuals that we saw yesterday. Let's take more tweets now from post on X, I beg your pardon. Akorede Omaba says, I don't know what to think about this, but where are these guys seeing the FX cash they are trading with? I'm assuming CBN is not giving them the supply. Excuse me. So where are they getting the supply? Regardless of the situation, they should leave the streets. There's no sane society where foreign currencies are traded on the streets like groceries. I think that's his perspective, and it's a good one. Okay.
Yes, Ishola says, wait, that's like saying, wait a minute. Isn't the CBN giving dollars to the commercial banks and from them to the BDC? That's another good question. Can't the CBN revoke the license of the BDC for a while working on putting our economy back on track? Somebody should come to my aid, please, because I am confused. Ishola?
Well, the economy is... excuse me, Ladi's going to join us at some point to explain some of these things. But at the end of the day, one of the concerns that was raised is the issue of arbitrage. The people just go to banks, and we have FX liquidity problem. And we try to do as much of FX creation as possible, but we're not producing enough. So all of this to get our receipts in terms of dollars is not as much. So sometimes this thing just circulates. It's not as if there's productivity in the system. So somebody collects from the bank at when it was pegged maybe $400 and goes to sell in the black market or parallel market for 700, makes millions of dollars or millions of naira by simply the creation of that arbitrage and all of that. So
and that speaks to the position.
That's why it was floated. So let's close that gap. But it's going out of control and it's on a free fall. Let's see one more. Olamide says that EFCC should channel this energy at banks for financial corruption. The banks are the problem here. They are the ones supplying the BDC operators dollars. BDC operators are just opportunists taking advantage of our rotten financial system.
Yeah, thank you so much for your questions and comments. Of course, we'll be putting them through to our correspondent who will be joining us to explain some of these things to us and what government is doing, should be doing, that it is not doing. So it promises to be an interesting time out, as always, on the Morning Brief. Stay with us. We'll be right back to begin unpacking our package for you.
I like that line. Let's go.
Welcome back to the Morning Brief right here on Channels Television, and we're beginning with the first leg of our conversation this morning. And as we start off, you know, sports betting has gained traction over the years, not just in Nigeria, of course, globally. But back home, you would hear about, you hear from sports bettors how they cashed out, how they were bailed out of a patch in their finances because they betted. While this has come with its, prosperity for some, it also has its downsides, which is why a member of the House of Representatives is moving a motion to regulate that space. As let's now welcome Honorable Kelechi Wogo, a member representing Eche Omuma constituency in Rivers State, to talk to us more about the motion that he moved. Welcome to the Morning Brief, Honorable Wogo.
Thank you for having me. Good morning.
Of course, we're glad to have you. Your motion has, attracted a lot of attention on social media, rightfully so. Of course, maybe perhaps from some who own that space and do not want it to be touched, and maybe from other Nigerians who just have an opinion about the motion that you moved. And we know that you had cause to clarify that you're not calling for a ban, but for regulation. So how are you taking the pushback from Nigerians who reacted to that motion?
Well, as a representative and as a leader, you expect your people to react when you try to make some change that they are also unaware of. However, first of all, let me correct one impression. I think that arose after I moved this motion. I never moved a motion to ban sports betting. I moved a motion to protect the rights of players. I moved a motion to regulate the laws that have been there since 2005 that has not favored the players of sports betting. That is why in my prayers, in that motion, one of my prayers, I prayed that the House do invite the National Lottery Regulation Commission to brief the House and mandate them to protect the rights of players. As a representative of the people, I'm elected to be their voice in the House of Representatives. Therefore, we receive concerns, or I receive concerns, opinions, and ideas, and present them on the floor of the chambers, either by motion or by bills. So I think that is what I did. And I do not play sports betting, but I was concerned when, in fact, I sponsored that motion when some constituents shared on my social media handles very sympathetic videos of victims of sports betting, especially visual, calling on government to come to their assistance. So we have no other option, or I have no other option, than to present it to the floor of the House. Everybody must not speak in the floor of the House except you are being elected. Having been elected and I've heard the voice of my people, I've watched videos, including you should have as well watched those videos, people crying and making a lot of noise. So as representative, I went back to those laws that has been existing since 2005. I said, no, there is need to protect our people. There is need to protect the players of this sports betting. I'm not saying they should ban sports betting. I never said that. So if you go through my motion and if you go through the prayers, I think that is clear there. Thank you.
So why do you think people took up the fact that it was about ban? Because a lot of people thought that you were saying they should outrightly ban or regulate and all of that. So where did that miscommunication come from?
I think there was a blog that carried that rumor then, or will I say rumor, but that is not what I said. Even when you look at my motion, they are all online. Even the videos I said it that day, that the essence of this is to protect the rights of players. The essence of this is to review those laws that has been there since 2005, where somebody, when you want to play sport bet now, you will just see agree. Our people are not aware of this. They just click agree. And at the end of the day, you have no option than to ban to your agreement. In fact, if you go through that motion, I also call on the National Rotation Agency to create awareness so that people know what they are doing. So that you're aware. It's like when you go to an airport, or when you get to an airport, or you see anywhere, you say, join Wi-Fi. Agree, no agree. A lot of us don't read. A lot of us don't go through those things. So what we just do, we click. If you watch, I think I will forward you some clips where somebody played a game and the sports betting had to cancel this game. You should have seen that on the social media. They've done that once, twice. I've seen it. And when you go to their laws, you will understand that they also have the right to cancel this game, even when you have played. Now, my question is, if the person loses, will they also cancel the game? So the answer is no. So I'm saying no. Let us regulate these laws so they can favor our people. So these laws can favor them and as well favor the people playing this betting.
Right. So, Honorable, one of the videos I imagine you were referring to is one that came out of River State that showed one of the gamblers who was obviously angry. I think it was even cursing ex-Nigeria international who's an ambassador for one of the betting companies, and you could see people on the floor, people looking dejected and sad because they had lost money. So I imagine that's what inspired you from your constituents, particularly in River State. But let's talk about the negative effects and some of the regulations that you're looking, that you're hoping that will be put in place. You've said that you're trying to protect the gamblers and even protect the investment of the betting companies, which is a very interesting balance. So speak to us about the negative impact and the specific regulations that you want to put in place. Do you want it to be some sort of limits to daily gambling? Do you want it to be, stricter, scrutiny on the ages of people who gamble? Walk us through those regulations so we can wait, because Nigerians are listening and a lot of them also want to, get the buy-in or at least buy into your idea.
Yes, first of all, I'm aware that there is a law that established the National Lottery Regulation Commission 2005, I guess so, and the National Lottery Trust Fund as government agencies to provide guidelines and ensure that those players and all stakeholders that place this sports betting in question, they are being protected. Now, however, you ask a question now, or you will ask, how effective is these agencies? Do they have bottlenecks or challenges in course of delivering their duty? Do they have bottlenecks or challenges in course of implementing these laws? If yes, then they should come back to the National Assembly with the proposal to strengthen their jobs by way of an amendment to that previous bill. Then if they do that, it is our duty to present it to the floor of the House. You see, one thing you understand with Nigerians, most people don't go down well to read this agreement. A lot of players do not read these terms and agreement provided by sports betting companies before they click agree. It is wrong because ignorance, they say, is not an excuse in law. Now, without considering that sports betting companies have hidden clauses in that agreement that empowers them to shortchange players and click. And once you click agree, you have no other option. You are bounded to that. You don't have an option than to obey that agreement. So that is why we are saying the National Lottery Commission or whoever that is in charge, come to us, tell us your bottlenecks, tell us those things that are making you not to do your job. As legislators, we will look at it and give you a soft landing. And that is why I think I have that the prayers of that my motion. The first prayer I wrote was the National Lottery Regulation Commission to brief the committee on its effort to safeguard the right of sports betting players. Come and tell us, our people cannot be playing this sports betting. At the end of the day, you see the company will just cancel the betting like that and tell you that they have the right. And meanwhile, our people, out of ignorance, don't read. So that is one problem which we are trying to cure. Number two, urge the Federal Ministry of Information and National Education to conduct comprehensive nationwide campaign to let the public know that the negative impact. You see, when you say that underage players shouldn't bet shouldn't go into this game, I'm in support of that. That you don't need underage players. But when you're from 18 above, you know what is good, you know if this is right for you, you know if it is not right for you. But as long as you're being protected by this body, then I think that you're willing, you're okay to play your game. But it will be unnecessary for we to allow our people being used by these companies because of ignorance of not going through this agreement. So I will urge the bodies involved to come up with what they feel that are challenges, so we can regulate these laws. Since 2005, we can regulate these laws, so people involved in sport betting can go ahead, and also while you are going ahead, you feel protected. I've watched videos, I've seen things. So as representative, as a leader of my constituents, I will say, okay, let me go and speak for my people. That is exactly what I've done today. So I pray that these bodies will come up with those laws that will make us go into it and put it in the right.
Beyond calling for the regulatory commission to look into the laws and come up with proposals, we want to know what your thinking is, particularly with regards to the ease of access of the underage to sports betting. Because of the presence of these companies on the internet, they're able to partake, and even they have access to sports betting centers. So what's your thinking about how to guard against this ease of access to sports betting by the underage?
That is why we are even called. In fact, when you say protect the rights of players, you are also saying that at 15 years old, can you go into betting? If I allow you go into betting at 15 or 10 years old, then I'm not even protecting your rights, because you shouldn't go into betting at the age of 15, at the age of 10. But I'm telling you now, part of also protecting your right is making sure that you are up to that age that can also go into the sport betting.
So these amendments, I'm sure that, let me just find out, before you put up this bill, did you have like consultation with the stakeholders, or this is just you trying to, pull them out, so have a conversation with them? Before I now ask my next question.
Yeah, remember, as a representative of the people, I've already been given the mandate to speak to them. So when I saw these things online on social media, I felt pains. In fact, when I saw those sympathetic videos of victims, I felt pains. So I have no other option than to present this motion to the floor of the House, and the House have deemed it fit to send it to the appropriate committee to look into it. And I believe that the committee will do the needful. I said it earlier on here, a lot of players do not read terms and agreements by these sports betting companies before they click agree. It is agreed because it is said that ignorance is not an excuse in law. So I've consulted the people I'm supposed to consult. They have also come to me, I've consulted my stakeholders. Yes, I did that.
No, the reason, Honorable, if I may button, the reason I was asking about you consulting them before, because everybody has a reason for doing what they are doing, because you are alleging that they are cheating people. That's your allegation. Which I'm sure that if maybe you had engaged them, they will say it's not the case or otherwise. That's why I'm asking whether you truly consulted them. Because what you're alleging now is that I don't know what data supports what you're doing in terms of saying, oh, most of these people, they can change the rule of the game while the game is still on. I don't know whether you get it.
Yes. Don't forget, I said first that I do not play sports betting, but I was moved to sponsor the motion when some constituents shared on my social media handles very sympathetic videos of victims of sports betting, especially visuals, calling on government. So I can send you those videos if you've not seen them online. And I've also interacted with them. So I'm not saying categorically that they cheat. Now I'm saying that based on this evidence before me, come and tell us.
Right.
These things, are they true? Okay. Because they have also sent me their receipt or whatever they use to play the sport betting. So come and tell me these things they have said. Are they telling me the right thing or not? That is why we are inviting them. That is why we are not taking any action against them. We say, come and tell us.
Right.
You have been here.
So this is more of a dialogue.
Go to the way,
so this
I don't want to go to the way the adverts are being made. You know, we have a lot of things to discuss, so but we take it step by step. But I can assure you that we will do the needful to protect the rights of players. But let me also clarify this again. As I said earlier on, that I correct one impression. I move a motion. I didn't move any motion to stop sports betting. Rather, I moved a motion to protect the rights of players. That is why in my first prayers in this motion, I prayed that the House do invite the National Lottery Regulation Commission to brief the House and mandate them to protect the rights of players.
Right.
Thank you.
So, Honorable, 65 million Nigerians are said to be involved in betting. So it's important for you to clarify that so they don't come for you. And I've seen some of the responses you've gotten on social media about that misconception. So it's important for you to keep saying it. Maybe tomorrow again, you have to say it over and over again. But looking at some of the effects, so 65 million Nigerians gamble, spend an average of $15 daily. If that's still true today, going by the exchange rate, 1,700, that's about 25,500 being spent daily on gambling. That's just 4,500 Naira shy of our monthly minimum wage in Nigeria. And some of the other, issues that people have said gambling causes as a result of data: mental health problems, depression, anxiety, addiction, strained or broken relationship due to lying or stealing, financial problems, legal issues, job loss due to excessive loss or debt, which is something you reference about, canceling the game when people have won, increased crime rate, and eventually committing suicide. Now, in extreme cases, we have seen that playing out. I know you've said that you're not calling for a ban, but then when you look at our society, when you look at the context we're in right now, do you ever think and say, maybe these monies, $15 daily, maybe we could have, channeled it into production or something of sorts that you are sure that there will be a return, rather than high-risk gambling where it's not even 50-50 sometimes. Sometimes it is 99-1 that you win something, Honorable.
Yes, exactly. Now, let me tell you, life is all about risk. You could buy a car today and put it in transport and the car crash. You can buy a plane today and something happen to it. So life is all about risk. Now, why won't you commit suicide? Or why won't you have anxiety? Or why won't you be depressed? When you play a game, maybe you've borrowed money or something else, and when you play a game, you expect to win, or you have even won that game, and at the end of the day, you're hearing that sports betting has cancelled that game. That is where depression comes. That is where anxiety comes. That is why suicide comes. Now, I'm also saying that if you're not up to the age, it is unnecessary. for you to go into this game. But if you're up to the age and you have what it takes, you know, I just came out from serious bullying on the social media for people that didn't understand what I'm saying. So I'm being careful to tread on that area now. But what I will tell you now is I still stand on the path that, yes, you have anxiety. Yes, you have depression. When I play a game, hoping to win. In fact, I've even won the game. I'm ready for sportsmen to come and tell me that, listen, they have the right to cancel the game. And because I have clicked agree, I don't have any other option. What I would just is to fall down, cry, and raise all kind of things. You know, because I've clicked to that agreement. That is why I'm saying the National Regulatory Agency should create the awareness. Listen, before you go into this game, read their terms and agreements. Now, I'm privileged to have seen that. I've seen that, yes, they have those rights to do those things, but I'm saying no. It is not good for the players. Come, let's review it. Come, let's go through these things back in order to protect their own rights, in order to also protect you. Because in that place, you're doing that business out of depression, out of anxiety, out of anything. One could do anything there. So while we are protecting the players, we are also protecting you, the sport betting companies.
Well, Honorable Che, Honorable Wogu, sorry, pardon me. It's instructive to also reiterate that 65 million Nigerians engage in sports betting, but not all risks in life come with all of those attendant consequences that Kayode just referenced. Let's go to the Regulatory Commission now, the NRLC. Besides the allegations that Jeffrey was asking you to prove earlier on, stakeholders also expressed concerns that there's lack of transparency in the agency's licensing and permitting processes, in the management of funds allocated to CSR provided by the sports betting companies. So I wonder if you're also considering in the motion that you have moved how more transparency and accountability can be entrenched in the board of the Regulatory Commission.
Yes, that is why I said earlier on in the first prayers, I said invite the National Regulatory Commission to brief the committee on efforts to see what they do. In fact, do you know, if you look at the way they promote sports betting in Nigeria, I can tell you that you don't even do that outside the country. You don't even do that outside the country. I just told you here that where I'm coming out from, I don't want to go back there. That is why I've been able to clear this air that when this committee resumes the sitting of maybe inviting them, they will take care of all these things and they will go into these details. I wouldn't sit here and start doing the committee's job. I've raised the motion. I'm concerned that our players, the players of these sport bettings, are not being protected by the rules, by their regulations, by their own laws. So I'm not saying, please, let's review it. Let's make an amend so that the players can also benefit. The era of where someone would play a game and after sometimes you have the right to cancel the game, especially when the person has won the game, that is not acceptable. You know, you allow it go that way. And two, I also believe that when one wants to log into the system, it will ask you, how old are you? If you're 16, if you're 17, your passport, or there will be evidence to show that this is my age, you know, and they can allow you have access to that platform.
All right, Honorable Wogu, before we wrap up the session, we have a question from one of our audience. They're asking whether sports betting companies pay taxes. I don't know whether you're privy to that information and what are the taxes for, because gambling and betting is a choice. So, two questions in one. Do they pay taxes? What are they for? That's a question from the social media to you.
Well, I said it here earlier on that I don't play sports betting, and I don't want to go to talk about how that one much. I want to concentrate on the rights of players. That is what I'm interested here now.
All right. quite a constructive conversation there, and the whole essence is for behavioral change. And we also hope that, your oversighting functions at the House of Representatives and at the upper chamber also, churn out significant outcomes in greater accountability and transparency with the Lottery Regulatory Commission. Honorable Kelechi Nwogu, member representing Eche Omuma constituency, Rivers State, at the House of Representatives, thank you very much for your time on the program.
Thank you for having me.
And we also hope that they stop dragging you after this interview. Thank you.
You are not also dragging me because you brought me here today.
We dragged you here to help you clear the air.
This is a good dragging.
Kelechi Mr. Kelechi Nwogu dragged you here to clear the air, and I'm happy you've done that. So maybe you pin it on pin the conversation on your social media,
so they will know.
So for clarity.
Thank you so much. I appreciate this conversation.
Right. Yeah, thank you so much.
So
from sports betting to how to better channel, the expenditure of the Naira, and how to rein in on the free fall of the Naira against the dollar. Our correspondent joins us now to look at, all of the odds and the ends of this conversation. So stay with us. We'll be right back.
But just before we hit the markets to find out what the prices are saying this morning, and perhaps a chance to drive down those prices, let's get the other side of this conversation. We're joined on the program, still staying with the betting conversation, the gambling conversation, whatever you want to call it. Ademola Adediji is an iGaming expert. By the way, iGaming is essentially a term for online gambling and betting and the rest. He joins us virtually on the show this morning. Ademola, good to have you on the morning brief.
Yeah, good morning, Kyle. Great to be on the show.
I don't know if you're one of the people that's been dragging the Honorable over that motion which he moved on the floor of the House of Representatives, but he's since come out to clarify the position that it's not to ban gambling, sports betting and the rest, but to have stronger regulations in terms of age, the terms and conditions, orientation, and perhaps a cap. I don't know if there's a conversation around capping just how much people can bet on a daily basis. But talk to us about the side of betting that people don't know. A lot of people think, well, this is the wrong way to spend your money. It is, people who don't have things to do with their money, that gamble, losers and the rest. Talk to us about that, and then your reaction to what the Honorable has said.
Well, first of all, sports betting or online gambling is a touchy subject. It is touch and go, depending on the side of the coin that you belong to, whether you're pro sports betting or not. Obviously, or maybe not obviously, I am into sports betting myself, and like I said, it is touch and go, and there's a thin line between doing it the right way and doing it the wrong way. And if you ask me if I am on the side of stricter regulations, yes. Because I think since the act that established the NLROC, that's the National Lottery Regulatory Commission, there hasn't been any look at the laws again that is governing sports gambling in Nigeria. And of course, the state of sports gambling in Nigeria, sports betting, the industry, is not where it used to be. Maybe at the start, it has grown in leaps and bounds. Many betting companies are seeing opportunities in Nigeria, and more people are even taking to sports betting. So I think there's a need for regulations, stricter regulations, both to protect the players, the customers, and the betting companies themselves, because they are need for business. They are not a charity organization. So we need to strike a balance. And I think I like the fact that the Honorable Lawmaker is thinking along the lines of protecting the players, the interests of the players, but it goes beyond protecting the interests of the players alone. There are other areas that we have to look into as a concern sports betting as it continues to grow in Nigeria. So I think somebody asked the question, I think there's a question of taxation on sports betting in Nigeria. We haven't really done much in that regard. And considering the fact that we're in the throes of economic downturn, I think that's something we have to look at. This is going to be an unpopular thing, but of course, it is what it is. There's also the psychological aspect of it. There are so many areas. There are so many facets to sports betting rather than protecting the interest of the bettors alone. And this is not a dig at anybody. I think the honorable lawmaker was talking about sportsbook or betting companies. In some climes, they call them sportsbook. Here in Nigeria, we call them betting companies. Change terms and conditions when games have been played. I don't really think so. Because we have a terrible habit of not reading the fine lines, and I'm sure the NLRC must have vetted their terms and conditions before they can put it on the site. And more often than not, these terms and conditions are for bonuses, promotions generally, rolling promotions and welcome bonuses, not for sports betting in itself, betting on games and sports events. So these are some of the things we need to look. But overall, I think I'm in support of even stricter regulations. So as to, because like I said, it's 50-50, and if we don't get it right, it may lead to some problems. So I'm all for stricter regulations.
So I want to look at it, since you're the expert in this space, from the cultural perspective. It's, like you said, it's a very touchy issue. Before I talk about the finances and the monies and all of that, we still raise a concern about what the people that are players or the stakeholders in the space can do to protect young Nigerians. You know, when you look at the number of people engaged in it, for the business person, it's quite good. But for culture and society, it's a bit troubling when you see the number of underage people coming in. So what do you think can be done by the operators to help, you know, bring down that number of young people, underage young people, engaging in sports betting and literally throwing their lives away?
Well, one of the major problems we have in the sports betting industry in Nigeria is underage gambling. And I think it's something we really have to look at, the regulators, the betting companies themselves. I don't really think they're doing much in that regard. That is in trying to curb underage gambling, because there's something called retail betting. That is what some people refer to as betting centers. A lot of these companies have retail betting shops that people can walk into. Despite the fact that people have access to the betting apps and all of those things, there's still a large chunk of people who are not tech savvy and who place bets, and then they walk into the nearest retail betting center and then place their bet. And the people who are in charge of these betting centers, I do not think they do enough in vetting the people who come to these stores and place bets. Personally, I've seen a lot of underage people that I know that definitely they are not up to 18 in betting shops. I try as much as possible to talk. It's not like I go there regularly, but they're everywhere. They're ubiquitous. You see them everywhere. So when I have the opportunity, I try to educate them and say, hey, this person is up to 18. This person should not be here. And then you're even flouting the laws governing sports betting in Nigeria. So I try to do that once in a while when I find myself in that position. Like I said earlier in my earlier submission, I said it's not only it's part of protecting the players. Stopping underage gambling is part of protecting the players. And I think the NLRC, the states gambling board, because there are quite a number of states in Nigeria that have their own regulatory commission. In fact, there's an ongoing battle between the NLRC and the state regulatory commissions. That's a discussion for another day. I think they really have to do much in that regard. There should be an enforcement in that if you are caught in the web of maybe providing betting services, whether online or offline to underage people, there will be repercussions of fines, or maybe in the extreme cases, if they are repeat offenders, licenses will be taken from them or suspended for a period of time. I think we have to take the stance to make sure that we curb underage gambling. Even in the West, underage people still engage in betting, but they do it on the dark web, not like recently like we do it here. And I think we have to do much in terms of protecting underage gamblers. I mean, the legal age of betting in Nigeria is 18, and then if you're 15, 16, you're just a few years away from betting, so you can just be patient and bet. But of course, you ought to want to make quick money, and the popularity of sports betting will lure people to want to go and bet, even when they know that they are not legally allowed to place bet. But it is the onus is on the betting companies, the regulatory authorities, to make sure that they stem the tide so that it doesn't become a pandemic, really. And then on the question of culture and sports betting, there's legality, there's culture, and what you believe. Culturally, in the past, before it became legal in Nigeria, even till now, people still look at it and say, you're gambling doing this. But there are ways to this thing. Like I said, I play sports betting myself, and I don't think I go over the line. So it's a balancing act. If it is legal, you can bet, but there are some people who will think you should not be doing this. It is irresponsible of you. Anybody who places bets or wager money on something in the hope of getting money back is not living up to societal standard. But it is up in the air, really. If you hold the cultural view, yes, I will not blame you. But if you want to place bets, it's okay. Once you are above or you have met the legal age requirement for you to place bets, and you are placing bets responsibly, I think that's okay.
You know, Mr. Adedeji, I chuckled for a bit when you were talking about underage participating in sports betting. It sounded like you're asking 15 and 16-year-olds to just hold on 2 more years before they can participate. But, you know, that's another part of the conversation that we may never exhaust. I'd like you to speak to the figures that we're getting from the Regulatory Commission. 65 million Nigerians participating in sports betting. That's about a quarter of the population, or more than that. And then $15 per day is spent on sports betting. This is amid complaints about eroding incomes and the rising cost of commodities. What do you see in between those statistics? Is it desperation, or as an iGaming expert yourself, how can you explain it?
Well, on the surface of it, it's a lot of money, and I don't think we should be placing that amount of money on placing bets. But it is what it is. Like I said, Nigeria has a large population, good football culture, fan culture, sports-loving people, and of course, there are other factors like science and technology. We have internet-enabled phones, internet penetration, and ultimately, the lure of making money quickly, money that you may not make in your entire life. I know people have won millions of naira, 30 million, 60 million. Even yesterday, somebody won 60 million on Sunday. So there's that lure, and there's the economic woes that we are going through. And sometimes in your head, you think, I just need maybe 500 naira to place a bet, and then if I get lucky, if the stars align for me, I'm working with 16 million naira. But it doesn't always happen like that. In fact, maybe it is 1 in 1,000. I'm not sure of the statistics, but it doesn't always happen like that. But then again, because people see this as a means out of poverty, whether temporarily or permanently, they tend to wager more. Even when they lose, they tend to chase their losses, which is one of the things I would never advise anybody to do. When you lose a bet, you just move on to the next one, and maybe another day you try your luck again, see if you can win. But we have a tendency to chase our losses because, no, I've lost here, I have to recoup my money, and then possibly get extra profit. These are some of the things that contributes to the staggering amount of money that people wager on sports betting. And unfortunately, it is likely to get higher if we don't sort the economic quagmire that we have found ourselves in. But interestingly, it will interest you to know that we don't even bet as much as Kenyans. Yes, they don't have the kind of population that we have. I don't have the figures on the money, but I know that it's a pandemic in Kenya now. Almost everybody bets in Kenya, despite the heavy tax regime in Kenya. The companies pay about 3 different types of taxes. Even the bettors themselves, there are taxes on stakes, and we told you 20% withholding tax on winnings. So this hasn't even deterred people from placing bets. And even more betting companies are entering into the Kenya iGaming market in the last few months. So I think it goes back to the regulation. I've just given the example of Kenya that has this very, very strict tax regime on the sports betting industry. But more people are betting, more betting companies are coming in. But they don't have, people are willing to part with their money in hope of winning maybe a lump sum or a financial windfall or something. If we do not sort these economic problems out, more people will turn to sports betting, and then we have, I don't want to say problems, more challenges on our hands if we do not properly regulate sports betting in Nigeria.
I think you've touched at a very important point. That's the economic situation. I mean, some might also debate and say, well, whether the economy is good or not, even in other climes, you have people still gambling. It's become some sort of habit. It's now compulsion. Exactly. They can't help it. But as we wind down, I want to get a bit personal here, because there are like 2 divides there are people who look at bettors or people who bet from this side, and they think, and I don't want to say they judge and say, no, this person obviously has an addiction problem. What is going through this person's mind? Is it that this person doesn't think I can make it without gambling? Can't I just invest my money or engage in another form of venture that is widely acceptable, like starting a factory or starting a small business or what have you? But on a personal note, you are an iGaming expert, so I don't think you are like the average bettor out there. Do you sometimes sit back and think, is it really worth it? Do the benefits really outweigh the risk? Do you get on the verge of addiction sometimes, depression when you lose games? I know this is a bit personal, but I just wanted to, if you don't mind me asking, just get your thoughts on that.
Well, sometimes when I've not even gotten close to getting on the verge of being depressed or not, because I bury my spare money I can part with, maybe give somebody or do something I can part with easily. So I do not really, there's no chance of me getting depressed by losing pets or something or racking up a series of losses. So I do not, but sometimes I just stay off personal exclusion and say, I'm not betting this week. Sometimes it depends on the situation. If I'm not feeling up to it, or maybe I think I have something serious that I need to do, I need to focus, I'm not betting. If I have placed bet for like 2-3 consecutive days, I haven't won, I'll do some form of self-exclusion, which is a feature I'd like to see many more sports betting companies in Nigeria imbibe or make available on their system. I know there are a few who have it, but a lot of them do not have it. So I think it's something look into in the broader terms of regulation. So again, to reiterate, I don't think I've gotten close to being depressed, and I know how to strike a balance between wagering too much,
absolutely,
and staying just to let things cool off.
So it's important, those points you made. Do not wager money that you cannot afford to lose. Exactly, just wager a little bit. You talked about sufficient duty of care to customers and players. It's important for those companies to also pay attention to that. Thank you so much for giving a lot of people a peek into the world of gambling.
I wonder, what's his biggest win so far?
She's wondering what your biggest win so far is.
Okay.
If you don't mind us asking.
No, I didn't get the question.
Your biggest win so far?
My biggest win?
Can give us a range.
You can give us a range.
Can I share that on TV? Well, I can say I won last weekend and it's in the millions.
Okay.
There you go.
Pay your taxes.
Ademola Adedeji. Interesting. Ademola Adedeji, iGaming expert. iGaming, by the way, is online betting and the rest. I'd like to thank you so much for sharing these insights. I think it's important to always have these conversations out there so we can always protect ourselves. Thank you for your time on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, there you go. Bukola finally got that question off our chest. Well, we'll take a moment now, and when we return, we'll talk about the economy, the cost of food items, and this is something we talked about yesterday. So we're going into the markets literally to talk about these things, and Lottie Williams will join us in just about a moment. Stay with us on the show.
Welcome back. Let's head out to the market. What exactly is going on? The dollar to the naira? Oh boy. I know you know the numbers. Let's not even talk about the pounds. It's incredibly, I don't know. It's just difficult to describe. That's why we have Laddie Williams, business anchor and correspondent, joining us. Laddie.
Definitely a tough time
free
for us all.
Yeah. I don't even know how to. The words, I'm literally like,
there's something called
difficult.
Price discovery, but the only sad thing is the price discovery direction is to the downside. So that's where we're having a problem, right now with the Naira. Interesting conversation you guys were having about, gambling. Just to touch a bit on that.
Yeah.
If you guys are looking for a sure game, call me and I'll sell it to you.
Really?
On the sideline. I do that on the side. So, But yeah, about the Naira, definitely. If you look at the trade yesterday, the close, we were able to close at 1,598 Naira to the dollar, and that was down about 3.78%. When something, and I said drops 3.3%, that's a big drop there. You see that 1,598 intraday high, $1,712. That's 12 Naira. That's how high it got, during trade yesterday. Intraday low, we see that there, $1,100. So I don't know if anybody was able to get at that price.
So intraday means before just at the middle of the market.
Yeah, middle of trade.
Yes.
Then we see the pound there, massive drop there, 2,040 Naira. We know we've talked about this in the past. Some people said it was going to get to this level at some point, but it didn't feel real. But now we're seeing this actually happening right now. We flip over to other markets there, the parallel market. We see that 1,659 Naira, that's for the parallel market. Then the popular P2P market where the crypto traders, trade. We see USDT there, same as the parallel market, 1,659. So we're seeing weakness across board, with the Naira. And definitely this is, mounting pressure on everyone, at this point, because at the end of the day, wage earners are feeling the bite, at this point. We're seeing the commodity prices. We're seeing I saw a video you put up, the last time, and saw the price of spaghetti. We see how far that has,
luxury now these days.
Then we're seeing protests, at this time. States we've seen protests. We've seen protests in Kano, Sokoto, Niger, Osun, and Oyo states. If we drill down on the inflation rates in those states, we see that Kano there is at 28.42%. That's the inflation rate in Kano, alone. Sokoto is 28.26%, Niger 29.80%, Osun 32.31%.
That's even higher than the
national. Than the national. Then we see Oyo there, 34.5%. So we're seeing, so it's understandable, why you see protests, in these states, because they're seeing really high inflation. Then let's look at the states with the highest inflation rate at this point. They're not protests, there yet. We're seeing Kogi with 35.79%. Abia has 33%, and Rivers has 32.74%. Those are the states with the highest inflation, at this point. So it just goes to show that everyone is feeling it at this point, but some states are feeling it even more. And definitely the cost of living crisis right now. At the end of the day, it's allowed, to protest. But at the end of the day, we don't want a breakdown of law and order.
By the way, there has been protests in Kogi.
There's been protests in Kogi, exactly.
The state with the highest inflation.
So at the end of the day, the big question will be, what are the drivers? Because the government has put up this policy of no fuel subsidy. Now we know there is some subsidy, the floating of the Naira and all of that. The whole idea is to allow that free market, but it appears productivity is not ramping up as much. What exactly? So why all of this?
So at the end of the day, we're seeing moves, by the central bank at this time. The latest ones we've seen with the PTA and BTA, CBN has stopped cash payments and directed banks to use electronic channels, at this point. We've also seen limits on repatriation of proceeds by foreign oil firms. We see the CBN is really doing all it can, with all of this circulars, to boost liquidity at this time. But at the end of the day, we know the structural issues are still there. If we're not able to sell oil, as we should in the market, because that's our major revenue earner, at this point. If we're not able to sell the amount of oil we're supposed to sell, then we're going to have a problem. We still have refineries we're supposed to actually supply oil. So we're seeing Dangote refinery is going to, at some point, having to import US WTI, at this time. And we're seeing other refineries, trying to come on stream. So at the end of the day, the issues are there. But we all have to find a way to come together to solve this problem. I don't believe the government can do this alone. I feel we all have a part, to play. But productivity, very important. We need to start moving in that direction, at this time. If not, we're still going to be going, in circles. And we've seen, analysts and experts, tell us the right steps to take, at this time. But definitely, for me personally, I'm staying away from imported stuff at this time. I'm doing my best, as much as I can.
You're looking dapper, by the way. Where's your suit from?
This was made in Nigeria, but Nigerian.
By a Nigerian.
But I don't know about the fabric, but it was made here.
It's so funny. Those who live in glass houses, they're throwing stones.
Right.
Really?
Yeah.
This was made in Nigeria by a Nigerian designer.
All right.
And I believe the fabric was also manufactured in Nigeria.
We're going to check the origin of that fabric. We're going to check the origin.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
Crepe. The point I was going to make now is we're looking for ideas, right, to drive down price of food. We can talk about the dollar to Naira a lot, and we can go on and on about it, but when people go to the market, they want to see the value of the food or the prices dropping. I was going to say that, do we ask those who are placing bets, the $15 per day, 65 million Nigerians, to maybe invest in the economy of sorts? That's just by the way, but is there any way that we can drive down the prices of food? I know we've talked about this for a long time, but perhaps one more day, let's talk about it.
One more day. Yeah. Insecurity. We need to solve that. We need to let the farmers go back to the farms at this point. If they're not able to go back to the farms and, bring all of those produce out, then we're going to have a problem. So we shouldn't do cosmetic, solutions. We need to go deeper. Let's ramp up security at this point. Let's make sure the farmers actually go back to the farms and produce. That's the easiest way, at this point. Let's provide storage facilities. Since I was in secondary school, it's the same problem, of agriculture. Every time they say, name 5 factors affecting agriculture in Nigeria. The same problems are here now. And that was how many years ago? Same problem. Insecurity, storage facilities, irrigation, all of that, is still here with us. So we need to really work, because at the end of the day, we keep talking, and the reality is we all feel the bite, in our disposable income at this point. There's nothing to dispose, right now. It's
nothing,
really
absolutely nothing. We saw tubers of yam on the screen just a moment ago, and from the price commodities list, just 3 tubers. Go for 9,000 Naira now. What we used to buy
That's
in
the average.
bunches,
So let's
back then, for maybe 3,000 Naira at most, and you're getting a huge bunch. But Ladi, away from price commodities, let's go back to the diminishing value of the Naira against the dollar. I wonder if you had time to watch the morning brief from the beginning. Quite a number of comments from our viewers, particularly about the EFCC raid, with some saying, oh, but it's the CBN issuing dollars to the banks, and the banks also giving to the BDC operators, with some saying, why don't you stop licensing them altogether, that there's no country in the world where BDC operators are prospering like that. But even at that, Ladi, if all of these were done, how significant would it be to strengthen the Naira? I'm curious.
Because, at this point, the FX market in Nigeria is a very complex one. And the truth of the matter is, at the end of the day, we know there are some people that are profiting, from what all of this, going on in the market. But, looking at the BDCs, at this point, the central bank, the banks, dynamic. Just a few weeks ago, we heard the central bank intervened, in the FX market, pumping about $41 million, in there to about 5 banks. But the rates, that the central bank sold to the banks was about 1,400 and something Naira to the dollar. So I'm thinking, if the CBN is selling to the banks at this rate, how much are the banks going to sell?
To the population.
But at the end of the day, it's a cost if the CBN is going to have to sell lower than that, but can the CBN afford to sell at maybe 900 or 1,000 to the banks? Maybe that would crash the price. But at the end of the day, that cost will go somewhere. So at the end of the day, we're trying to, we know the CBN is doing all it can, to shore up the Naira, but to defend the Naira, we need a lot of dollars.
All right, well,
we need a lot of dollars.
We need a lot of dollars that we do not have. But sometimes the signal the people are getting is the fact that we know that the CBN, the monetary and the fiscal authorities, they are doing their bits to make sure this works, but to the people, it looks like nothing is being done because it's not moving.
When you go to the market
as much as
and you're having to pay so much, it just feels like nothing is happening.
And besides words like it's going to get better, there's no empirical data to show that, okay, this is what better means. So maybe the CBN and the fiscal authority will be able to say, besides the CBN governor saying 21% at the end, which is a tall order from 29.9, let's see how things play out. Larry Williams, business anchor and correspondent, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We're checking on you as the markets continue to evolve. And we hope that when we come back next time, it's going to be different.
Yeah. Hashtag strengthen the Naira.
Maybe it's going to come talk about sports betting.
All right, we'll take a quick break now. When we come back, guest we talked about at the beginning of the program, reality TV star, now musician, Efe Money, joins us. Stay with us.
And we're getting to the high point of the conversation. Is a reality television show the new claim to fame? But we've had a fantastic precursor to the conversation, learning about what influencing really means. So how much of an influencer was our guest before he hit the Big Brother house, and what has that done for him? Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Efe Money to the Morning Brief. So good to see you.
So good to see you.
So good to have you on the program, Efe.
I'm glad to be here.
Yeah. How are you doing, by the way? Let's start with the economy. We know that you said at a time that you didn't touch your winnings from the Big Brother house.
The funny part, just
but things have changed now.
Yeah, just give me a. Well, as of then when I won, it was what $75,000. But now it's barely $25,000.
Wow. So if you had saved it,
I would have lost.
Wow.
No, if I had saved it in Naira, I would have lost. But if I saved it in dollars.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Yes,
that's what I was saying.
Yeah, okay, that's what you're trying to say.
So now you've touched it.
Oh yes, I had to. So the pandemic, we had to.
Okay, so as we begin the conversation proper now, you were saying earlier that you were always performing even before you went to the Big Brother house.
Oh yes.
So you're a rapper, you're a singer, and Big Brother then happened.
Yeah.
How much of that expanded? Give spin to your career?
Oh yeah. The main goal, that was the aim of going to the house, to going for the reality TV, was just to get exposure. What happened was, I was big in Jos, and it happens that when you're so big in Jos, the fans begin to get tired of you, because what they want from me is to go to the next level, which was Lagos. So I moved there, and man, nobody knew me. It was like I came into I was in the middle of a big sea. So the idea was going to the house, even if it's 1 or 2 weeks, you can be able to come out and introduce yourself, like, hey, you know me, I went to I'm an artist, and I didn't know I was going to go that far or even win. But I'm a go-getter, so anything what do is what doing well. So fortunately for me, I ended up winning. But after then, it was just like to continue where I stopped, like to continue where I started coming from. But I found out later that, oh wow, I took a different route from what it is, because reality TV is totally different from being an artist, because the demand from you is more of your personality and your lifestyle. I mean, nobody's really, they were interested in the music that you know yourself to be for, because they know you as reality TV star. So that was just the whole.
So talk to us about that acceptance, because I know you've gotten some flags, you've gotten some hits. People are saying, I've heard people say, let him forget about music. He should focus on something else and all of that. So how have you been able to handle that? Because I see you, as you said, as a reality TV star, I don't know how much of buy-in the people have gotten from you as an artist.
Well, because to achieve something, you have to sacrifice another thing. So I did not know that was what was going to happen. Like, okay, music is totally different from reality TV. I just thought it could merge, but over time I found out that it's a totally different ball game. So what I just did was to use time as my advantage. I know that over time people will get to understand that actually music is what I do. Reality TV was just hustle. So over time, like I could tell you, I usually give a 5-year plan for my whatever I'm doing. So this is like the 7th year, and I'm glad to say that now they come to agree and understand that actually I'm a music artist and not just a reality TV star. I mean, we're here in this interview talking about it because I've proven to have metamorphosed from a reality TV star that I'm known for to a music artist.
There's a lot, sir.
Absolutely. And, I was just reminiscing, by the way, going through your social media and listen to the music you just put out. I think I saw that on Alibaba's page.
Alibaba's page. Shout out to Alibaba, by the way.
And I think it has a cultural vibe to it.
Yeah.
And then it's now catching on even beyond Niger Delta, South, because the music is mostly in your dialect.
Yes,
if I'm correct.
Yes.
What does it mean, first of all? What does that mean?
So it means, I'm just talking about how we live, especially like the idea of the song is I'm a strong man. I don't do anything if money is not involved. Yes, if it's not money talk, don't call me.
Right.
It's where where they chop life, where I'm having a good time. That's where you find me.
And the feel and the vibe of the song is the bounce is quite different, and it just has a way of sneaking up on you. I just realized, okay, wait, I'm vibing to this song, which is brilliant, I should say, because it's a bit different from the sound around and especially the rave.
Yes.
If it's not on a piano, the Afrobeat, a certain sound is what is making the rounds, but you decide to go a different way. And I'm curious, because you said that it's music for you. Most people who go into reality TV come out and they go into influencing. They're influencers for brands and the rest. But you say it's not the same for you. And I'd like you to speak to that, because it's something you said before we came on that was quite interesting.
It's not really the same for me. I'm not an influencer. I'm influential. Because an influencer, you get paid to influence. Maybe you're giving a product. Me, I feel like my life or when I speak, it will influence people positively. So I don't think I qualify as an influencer, because it takes a lot to be an influencer. You have to live in a certain way. You're obligated to post, to just do. Me, I just wake up and live. And why I feel I'm influential, I know that from when I won the Big Brother stuff, a lot of people migrated from Jos to come to Lagos because of me. Yes, there was a huge movement of youth because if I can do it, they felt they could do it too. So going by my music now, going through all the trolls and everything, it's another way to let people know that you don't have to wait to be accepted or approved to achieve your goals. So
but don't you think that that's just a matter of semantics? Perhaps if the brand started coming your way, you'd see things differently.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not. The point is, it's not. I'm not about all the brands. Fortunately for me, I'm working with brands that I actually like. I've been consuming their products even before I became popular. So I think my principles are aligning with wherever the money is coming from.
So let's talk about that, Troll. I'm really concerned about how you navigated that path, which is why my line of question goes in that direction.
Okay.
Because we've seen people go from acting to try to sing, and people like, what is this? Will you just get out of our face?
You just want to mention names.
Yeah, no, I don't want to mention. So sometimes it's quite difficult to transition from one art form to the other. I think it's easier to transform maybe from a comedian or a musician to an actor than the other way around.
Yeah.
So when you are being literally bullied, because we saw things online, we saw very terrible comments, how were you able to keep it together and stay consistent until it's okay, this is going to pass? Because that's important to anybody who believes he has something, but nobody has seen what he has.
Basically, I just stayed true to myself. Like I said, the first time I walked into a studio was in 2010. So officially or unofficially, I started releasing music in 2012. As of 2014, I won a music competition. I was the best rapper of the country. And I became popular in Jos. So I had even experienced fame as of 2015. I used to sign autograph in Jos. yes, for those that experienced that era of me, they could testify to that. I think I have one or two few pictures. So I was performing at big stages, getting paid. So it was that big that on billboards, if you're bringing in somebody like Tubaba, MI, we also stay on the billboards as well. So it's not like I transitioned. I've always been an artist. I just went for the quick hustle to come back to base because you need capital and you need everything to move on. So it was not like there was any transition. I was never a reality star. It's not my thing. My music concerned me, and that's what I focused on. So it wasn't so difficult handling the trolls because I understood where they were coming from. They did not know me as a music artist. They knew me as a reality TV star. It was just for me to, I'll go back to say, time. Give them time to come to terms with what I'm doing and what I believe in.
Interesting. By the way, there's something we always do on the show. It's like a trivia, so you can either opt for it or otherwise. It's just current affairs questions we ask. So at the end of this interview, we would ask only if you want to participate in it. Very simple question.
No, it's as long no other.
I like that. I like that. But speak to us. You said so you want to be influential. Rather than just being an influencer. Which I imagine being influential also has influencer in the package. Or at least you do brands, you do...
Yeah, but you do it at your own control, your peril, like you're in charge.
Are you proud?
Me? Yes.
As an honorable man?
As an honorable man, yes, I'm very proud.
You're very proud?
Yes.
I love the fact that you're owning it.
No, it's true. As a man, you have to be proud.
In this climb, they say be humble. You have to be humble.
Man, you will lose a lot being humble.
But it doesn't say the same when you were in the house. In the house, what sold for people was your humility, your relatability in terms of growing up on the streets and being, that's the story of an average Nigerian.
No, but actually, even in the house,
so where did the pride?
I've always been proud. Like, even in the house, I was, proud of myself.
Exactly. Maybe you need to define pride.
Oh, you see, pride is misconstrued, Exactly. People always paint pride to be like, oh, you are being arrogant or you are being dismissive of other people's capabilities, or just condescending in general. No, but that's not me. I'm proud of myself. I've achieved a lot and I know where I'm going to. And if you don't have pride, you'll not be able to put yourself at certain standards. You can't go below what you want to achieve. So they might even cut this part and say, if you say I'm very proud.
So you want to put it on record.
The point is you have to be proud of yourself. That's the way you feel good about yourself and want to achieve more. If you're just there, no. They always misconstrue, like I said, the word proud. Oh, you're proud, and you have to be very proud of who you are, where you're coming from, and where you're going to.
So for you, pride here doesn't necessarily mean arrogance. It means a healthy sense of self-esteem.
Very good. Thank you very much. I'm not easily influenced by anything. If I'll go back, I hardly go back into the house. So when we walked in, there was a lot of English speaking up and down, waiting with this. I've been Nigeria boy, and I know that when we interact outside of the formal spaces, we use pidgin. So I won't come here to speak English with you. I will not be comfortable. You get? So that's where my pride comes in. I'm proud as the average Nigerian kid that knows that this is who I am, and anywhere I go, I should be able to communicate in ways to my fellow Nigerian in the way that makes sense.
Yeah, and I imagine that doesn't take, your position doesn't take away the value of humility as well.
Oh, yes,
Talk to us about you not attending the Big Brother All-Stars reunion. There was a lot of talk about whether you were not invited or not. Perhaps you want to, All-Stars rather, a lot of talk about you not being invited. Perhaps you'd like to give us some clarification.
Oh, no, it's just simple. Like I said, it was never my industry. I moved back to my industry, which was music, so I think that just answers it.
So that's pride. Is that the pride?
Is that the pride?
No, it's not pride. It's just facts. I actually don't lie to myself.
Okay, so you don't want to be boxed.
Yes. The reality TV is not bad, but it was never my space of comfort. I don't have any. You could testify. I don't think any of you know anything privately or personal about me apart from my music.
But that could have given you. That could have given you more visibility. I mean, you're in the face of Nigerians as far as entertainment is concerned, and that's a big platform. So don't you think that participation would have been healthy for your career?
It's the conversion that's the issue. So it gives you visibility, but how do you convert it? As a music artist, it's difficult to convert that kind of exposure. because people who the audience in that space don't consume music at that deliberate level. So if I appear in like a Grammy Awards now and MTV Base Awards, for instance, yes, the conversion rate is quick. Just like when I performed at Lake Tahoe, bringing in Ifeanyi Ajagba, the silver heavyweight champion of the world, the conversion was quick. The Shazam on the song Money Talk was fast. You could see it directly. It's different from when you go into a reality space. I don't know if I'm making sense.
So have you been invited to perform at the Big Brother show?
Oh, no, officially, no.
What's your relationship with the management?
Oh, great. We're cool.
Because
and you were not invited. It's a bit of a contradiction.
It's because you went there because, sorry for cutting, you went there because the music, to get exposure for your music. In fact, you use that platform to now reintroduce yourself to the entire country besides Jos.
Yes.
And then after that, we expect that years later, now that you've decided, okay, I'm a musician, Big Brother should invite you to perform in one of the stages, because we've seen others come.
Yeah, maybe they'll invite me in the next ones, because I don't lie to myself. Like, practically, I've not maybe had the hit songs that requires for me to be invited. So, I mean, I work on merit, not on sentiments. I'm
sorry to belabor the point. You talked about conversion.
Yes.
But the Big Brother did something for your career, even if it took some time for you to convert it. So, why did you have to rethink the conversion for this All-Stars party this time around?
I just said it clearly now. This is the 7th year after I won. It took this long for even new people to agree now that I'm a music artist. So I know I say conversion is difficult. If I was a movie star or a presenter or a broadcaster, anything, or a lifestyle or a fashion, it's easy. I will rush to go back to the platform. You get, but for music, the conversion is not so great.
It's interesting to hear you speak about it. So it looks like you've really looked at the data. You've looked at, you've weighed the pros and cons, and you have, as you said, you don't lie to yourself. But the jury is out there, what people think about you. But I imagine a lot of people at least would learn from how you handle maybe trolls, people who speak down on your talent and say, don't do music. You've come back with a hit. By the way, what are your numbers like?
Oh, right now the numbers are great. Like I said, shout out to the platform. I've made more money off the music than with the music, but I wouldn't lie to you. From October, when I released this Money Talk, it's different. I've been booked because of my music, and that's the ultimate joy. I think I'll start adding weight after.
So we have barely 2 minutes. Let's do this. So two questions I have for you for our simple current affairs question, and I mean simple questions. One. You said you've agreed to this, right? To being a part of this.
Oh, yes.
Okay, good. So just to put it on record, so you don't get.
Okay, I think I know where I'm going to.
You know where I'm going, right?
I think somebody has embarrassed themselves. Yeah, I can't.
No, it was just a simple. No. It's okay to say you don't know.
Well.
No fear.
Absolutely.
I cannot disappoint University of Jos.
Oh, lovely. So first question: who is your representative in the House of Reps or in the Senate? And this is very personal. We're trying to draw attention to people knowing who represents them so they can engage with government. So do you know that?
Okay, I know for the Delta Central, Dafinone.
That's where you're from?
Yeah, that's where I'm from, Dafinone. Yeah, I know him because he's from the opposition party in the state. And Omo Agige campaigned for him a lot. So I think Omo Agige went for the governorship seat, so he had to bring someone there. So
you're very aware of
politics. Yes.
Second, what does EFCC mean in full? I know EFCC trends a lot. They've been trending lately, but do you know what it means in full?
Economic and Financial Crimes Commission.
Good job.
Impressive.
I
came out with a second class upper in economics, University of Jos. So
I'm tempted to add one more question to it. Okay. So who is currently Nigeria's Minister of Power?
Nigeria, that's
because we've been having
Oyo state governorship candidate, Adelabu.
Oh,
brilliant.
I think that's a good.
God, the AFCON is over. Would have given him another.
No, he's going to smash people.
I was tempted to ask him economic numbers, but let's leave it at that.
Well, you need to do something for your fans on the show this morning. Just a freestyle.
Well, freestyle. 30 seconds.
30 seconds.
Take us
The world is going through some crazy times. We've been gaining so much agonies and losing lives. Daily news be terrible with people suffering and scouring for food like scavengers. They might be demonized. I'm from Nigeria. Terrible government, gullible citizens seeking for vanity. They put their tribe and religion before humanity. Value ain't it, money is their sanity. But me, I'm trying to break free from my demons. Every day the fight is so horrendous. But I've been a better me, I feel it mentally. Don't let the world deny you of your destiny. So break free from the hate and despair. Blowing out your brother's candles doesn't make yours ever brighter. The racial inequality is unfair. We're going to keep on raising voices until black lives start to matter. Police, they kill my people. I know be color issue. Government no send the people. But they claim we equal. The thing they make me sicko. I know if you stop to think, why did they do this evil? The fellow man. Oh no, no, no. Baba in heaven, we come to you. Make Pharaoh let all my people to go. Make water carry the wicked, you.
Ladies and gentlemen,
I like
money right here on the morning brief. Brilliant. Thank you so much for coming on, brother. We appreciate you, money.
Thank you so much.
I wish you the very best on your journey.
Yes, thank you. And just to say, I have a new EP out, Une Bounce.
Okay.
It has a lot of the Robo vibe in it. So if you're from Niger Delta, this is for you.
All right.
Go stream that.
On a bounce.
Une Bounce. Une means song in Robo.
Okay.
So the bounce is the fusion of Afrobeats, hip hop, and everything.
And it's across platforms.
Across all platforms.
Money, thank you so much for coming on the program. We appreciate
Oliver
you.
Twist, I was going to ask for that Urobo flavor.
We don't have any more time, guys. We don't have any more time.
After the show.
All right, thank you so much for your time, and of course your usual company. I'm Jeffrey Uzoma.
We'll be back again tomorrow. Thank you for watching. I am Bukola Koka.
You know, as Money said, let my people go. We're going now. Sunrise Daily is next right here on Channels Television. I'm Kaido Kikili. Goodbye.